Welcome to your Financial Literacy Bootcamp. Today we will move from accidental financial wins to intentional wealth building. If you have just paid off credit card or auto debt, congratulations. Now the real work begins. In this video, we will establish a practical system to manage cash flow, build a resilient emergency fund, automate savings, and strategically attack residual debt, particularly student loans. We will also compare aggressive debt payoff versus passive wealth accumulation, examine recommended books, and outline a 7-day action plan. Let's get started. Before we dive in, here is our roadmap. First, we will shift your mindset from accidental to intentional. Next, we will build foundations in 3 stages: an emergency fund, automation, and residual debt attacks. Then, we will visualize cash flow with a flowchart and a budget pie. After that, we will compare debt payoff strategies to investing priorities. We will highlight 2 core resources to guide tactics and long-term investing. Then, we will provide a quick start checklist and a 7-day plan. Throughout, we will include short quizzes to reinforce learning. Finally, we will present a brief disclaimer. Before proceeding, please note this video is for educational purposes only. It is not financial, legal, or tax advice. Your situation is unique, so consult a qualified professional before making major financial decisions. With that clarified, let us move into the mindset shift. Now that expectations are set, let us begin with the core mindset shift. Many people reach debt freedom due to fortunate events such as a raise or windfall. However, to build durable wealth, we need to replace luck with systems. Intentionality is the high-interest skill that compounds across decades. This means deciding in advance how each dollar should work, and then automating those decisions. Next, we will outline the 3-stage on-ramp to begin managing money on purpose. Let us begin with the 3-stage on-ramp. First, build an emergency fund. Start with 1 month of essential expenses, then expand to 3 to 6 months. This buffer allows you to avoid falling back into credit card debt when life happens. Second, automate transfers. Set your paycheck to route automatically into separate accounts for bills, high-yield savings, and investments. Automation reduces decision fatigue and prevents spending what you meant to save. Third, attack residual debt with special attention to student loans. Choose a payoff method with a clear hierarchy so you always know the next best dollar of action. Finally, once the buffer and systems are in place, invest consistently in low-cost index funds. Next, to visualize this system, we will use a cash flow automation diagram. In this flowchart, income from payday splits into 3 accounts. One path allocates to a fixed bills account for rent, utilities, and insurance. The second path funds an everyday spending account for groceries and discretionary spending. The third path goes to high-yield savings, which itself is divided into the emergency fund and sinking funds for planned purchases. Once the emergency fund reaches its target, any additional savings flow to investments in index funds. If an unexpected expense occurs, the emergency fund covers it, and then subsequent paychecks automatically replenish the fund. This creates a self-correcting system that maintains stability while allowing investments to proceed. Next, we will operationalize the emergency fund. Continuing from the flowchart, first open a high-yield savings account with no fees and the ability to transfer quickly to and from checking. Second, set milestones. Reach 1 month of essential expenses first, then build to 3 to 6 months depending on job stability and dependence. Third, automate a weekly transfer to smooth cash flow and reduce the temptation to pause contributions. Fourth, create separate sub-buckets within savings for the emergency fund and for sinking funds such as travel or car repairs. Fifth, park any short-term goals in this account to avoid using credit cards. Finally, track your progress with a simple spreadsheet or budgeting app, and celebrate each milestone to reinforce the habit. Next, let us automate the rest of your money flow. To implement automation, ask your employer or payroll system to split direct deposit by percentage into bills, spending, and savings. For example, 50% to bills, 30% to everyday spending, and 20% to savings until your emergency fund is fully funded. Next, align due dates so bills are charged 2 to 3 days after payday, and savings or investments occur on payday. Once the emergency fund target is met, redirect that same contribution into an index fund. Additionally, create email filters and labels for financial statements to reduce clutter. Schedule a monthly money date where you review allocations and adjust as needed. Finally, set banking alerts for low balances and large transactions to avoid surprises. With automation in place, we can compare how to prioritize debt versus investing. On the left, the debt avalanche targets the highest interest rate first to minimize total interest paid. The snowball method targets the smallest balance first to build momentum and improve behavior. The avalanche is mathematically optimal, while the snowball is psychologically powerful. On the right, investing in low-cost, diversified index funds provides broad market exposure with minimal fees. The hybrid approach often works best. Pay minimums on all debts, direct extra toward high-interest balances, and once the emergency fund is complete, invest a consistent baseline in index funds. The key is to avoid extremes that stall progress. Next, let us review 2 cornerstone books that support these tactics. There are 2 highly complementary resources. First, the book titled I Will Teach You to Be Rich, despite its title, is a tactical guide to setting up automation, cutting unnecessary fees, and choosing high-yield banking options. Second, The Simple Path to Wealth provides a clear and disciplined framework for long-term investing with low-cost index funds. Use the first to take immediate action this week, and the second to shape your lifelong approach. Now, let us visualize a simple budget allocation model. This pie chart proposes a starting point for allocating income. Needs receive 50% for essentials such as housing, utilities, and groceries. Wants receive 25% for discretionary spending. Savings and investing receive 15%, and debt paydown receives 10%. These percentages are flexible. If you carry high-interest debt, increase the debt paydown slice temporarily. Once debts are reduced and the emergency fund is complete, increase the investing allocation. Next, let us convert ideas into a concrete checklist you can follow immediately. Here is a quick start checklist. First, open a high-yield savings account at an online bank and aim for more than 3 months of essential expenses. Second, automate deposits using a payroll split, such as 50% to bills, 30% to spending, and 20% to savings. Third, set bill autopay 2 to 3 days after payday. Fourth, invest a baseline contribution in a low-cost index fund through a brokerage or retirement account. Fifth, choose a debt payoff method, ideally the avalanche targeting the highest annual percentage rate. Sixth, schedule a monthly review to adjust percentages and goals. Next, let us test your understanding with a quick quiz. Question: after paying off credit card or auto debt, what is the very next foundation to build before ramping investments? Options: A. Emergency fund in a high-yield savings account. B. Meme stocks for quick returns. C. Extra rent prepayment regardless of APRD. New car down payment. You may pause the video now to consider your answer. We will discuss the correct answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is A. Building an emergency fund in a high-yield savings account is the next essential steps. This buffer protects your progress and prevents a return to high-interest debt when unexpected expenses arise. Now, let us go deeper into decision-making under uncertainty to avoid analysis paralysis. To avoid analysis paralysis, impose a time limit on research and then act. A simple rule of thumb is to prioritize paying down balances with annual percentage rates above 7 to 8%, while also maintaining a baseline level of investing once the emergency fund is complete. Default to low-cost, broad market index funds to keep decisions simple. Track only 3 metrics each week: your cash buffer amount, your total debt balance, and your contribution rate. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Next, we will reinforce your understanding with one more quiz. Question: which pairing best balances math and momentum for long-term wealth? Options: A. Avalanche for high APR debt plus consistent index fund investing. B. Snowball plus short-term day trading. C. Minimum payments only, with no investing. D. Maximum mortgage prepayment while ignoring a high-yield savings account. You may pause the video now to consider your answer. We will discuss the correct option in the next section of the video. The correct answer is A. Using the avalanche method for high-interest debt is mathematically efficient, while consistent index fund investing allows market compounding to work in your favor over time. Next, Let us sketch your cash map and learning path with a mind map. This mind map places financial literacy at the center. Under Bootcamp habits, we include automation, the emergency fund, and monthly budget reviews. Under debt strategy, we note the avalanche and snowball methods, along with thresholds based on interest rates. Under investing, we include index funds, asset allocation, and the use of tax-advantaged accounts. Under learning, we list free online academies, key books, and communities. Under metrics, we focus on the cash buffer, total debt balance, and contribution rate. Under risk management, we include appropriate insurance, emergency fund sizing, and consideration of job stability. This map illustrates how the components interconnect. Next, let us summarize key takeaways. Here are the key points. First, replace luck with systems. Second, build your emergency fund, then automate, then choose a clear debt strategy. Third, use the avalanche for high interest efficiency, while maintaining a baseline of investing after the emergency fund is complete. Fourth, default to low-cost index funds and remain consistent. Fifth, avoid analysis paralysis with simple rules and time limits. Sixth, use affordable resources such as books and free online academies to build knowledge. Next, let us convert this into a 7-day action plan. To make this actionable, follow this 7-day plan. On day 1, open a high-yield savings account and list your essential monthly expenses. On day 2, set your payroll split and align auto-pay dates. On day 3, create emergency and sinking fund sub-buckets and schedule a weekly transfer. On day 4, list all debts with balances, interest rates, and minimum payments. On day 5, choose the avalanche or snowball method and set an extra payment amount. On day 6, open or verify your index fund account and schedule a baseline contribution. On day 7, read 2 chapters, one from each recommended book, and enroll in a free online academy course to solidify your learning. Finally, let us wrap up with a thank you and a quick reminder. Thank you for watching. If this bootcamp helped you move from luck to intention, please like the video, share it with a friend who just paid off debt, and subscribe for more practical finance content. Leave a comment with your biggest takeaway or your next action step. Your questions may be featured in a future video.